Can anyone hear me loud and clear? I'm pretty sure you can. Because how can you not with this beautiful, sexy pink mic? Right? So manly of me. It looked red, okay, on Amazon. I didn't realize it was going to be hot pink. Hot pink. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about a very, offbeat subject. And this offbeat subject has come after sudden realization of my own research that I do day to day with your horoscope during my consultations. Okay? And the title is The Most Important Planet in Astrology That No One Cares For. See, everybody talks about it. No one cares for. Okay? Can you guys hear me okay, clear? Is the mic beautiful? Please let me know. I can still switch it. Because I know that's been a big problem with me. Okay. So, do you guys know the planet that is so important? It is the most vital important planet, and that is, yes, that planet is Mercury. Mercury, it is the most important planet. You know, we shrug Mercury off most of the time. Whenever you talk about Mercury, we say what? Mercury's communication, writing, journalism, aunts, uncles, right? Mercury is trade. Mercury's education. And yet we focus our fear on things like Sarasati. You know, we focus our fear on Rahu Dhasha, Ketu Dhasha. We focus our fear on Dhaya. We focus our fear on, oh, my Mars is in the 8th house, or this is in the 8th house. And one of the most common questions that everybody has in astrology: why am I not successful? What is happening with me? I'm so educated. Okay, so remember, you're educated, right? You've got your master's degree. You've got a PhD. You're probably a doctor, engineer. You could be a scientist. Yet you're not making the strive that you're supposed to make. So why is it that success is not happening? And that is due to Mercury. How? Besides everything else, what does Mercury represent in astrology? It represents nervous system. Right? It represents all the connections coming from cerebral cortex with even the cerebellum and what do you call pineal gland. Everything, all the things are coming back into the spine. And what did the great Yogananda say in his speech back in 1920 in United States in Boston? God is in the spine. God is in the spine. You're too stupid to realize it, which he really wanted to say, but he couldn't. He had to be nice. So Mercury is that. And even that is not my point here. Even that's not my point here. Mercury is your ability to make a decision. Mercury is your ability to make a decision. And Mercury is ideas. See, we think moon is ideas. No, moon is thoughts. Like right now I'm making this video and subconsciously and in my head I'm getting images of going to bed. I'm getting images of what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm getting images of the movie that I just watched. Thinking about this project, that. I'm thinking about, oh, did I pay this bill and not bill? And now here I'm talking in front of you, but it's happening. All the junk and trash is happening. However, those are not ideas. Those are not ideas. Okay? So when you see somebody who does not have, even a high school degree, who just completely flunked out, who they were complete losers in high school, grade school, yet they're probably making 20 million a month. Why? What happened? Where I thought we thought they don't have any intelligence. What are they going to do in their life? See, what the thing is we need to separate is thoughts from ideas. We need to separate thoughts from ideas. We keep thinking, well, I can think so well, I can think so deep. I can procrastinate about life. I'm one of those thinking statues. But that doesn't mean you're getting an idea in your head. Once in a blue moon, you're sitting in a restaurant eating your masala dosa, you're eating your hot dog, you're eating your pizza with a friend, and suddenly an idea sparks. Like, oh my God, why am I not applying to this position and this job, and why am I not training in that particular position instead of this? That's an idea. Idea is you're sitting at a restaurant and you're like, if they only added this sauce and this cheese to that burger, it can become one of the best burgers known in the entire world. That's an idea. And the person's like, oh my God, maybe I can start my own restaurant somehow and become better than any burger joint out there. Yet your thoughts are going on. You're looking at your burger. You don't like the sauce. You don't like the cheese. You want to add that cheese. You want to add the same sauce on that burger, which makes it the best burger, but you just do it and you eat it. But that thought about that idea, oh, it's an idea, does not come about. So let's start, first of all, separate these two elements of thoughts and ideas. So thoughts are junk, ideas are useful. And who is responsible for this junk is the moon. Why? Because moon has been cursed to wax and wane, high tide, low tides, high tide, low tides. Some days I think about my bills and I feel nothing. I'm like, oh yeah, just another bill happening. Some days I think about my bill and I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay them? Oh man, I owe this much in the cell phone bill this month. What's going on? Am I talking to the president 24/7? What the hell's happening? So that's the waxing and waning of the moon. So, and then the idea comes, I'm making all these videos and all that. Oh, what about if I opened a school for people who do not know anything about astrology? Okay, fine. I've been working on that. I don't know when it's going to be happening. Hopefully in the beginning of next year or by end of this year. But that's an idea. That's an idea. So after looking at so many horoscopes, and today I was looking into my database because in my software Astrology, I have like a different, you can save all these different databases, in my software, especially the 9, Astrology 9, all the notes and everything. So I was just going back today. Today I had a lot of time, so it was a beautiful day. Sun was hitting and I'm like, I've been saving all these horoscopes and I'm saving them for research, and so I kept going one folder to the other. Like I have one for career of doctors, career of this, divorces, 3 divorces, 10 divorces, so I can see the combinations and then I can print them all out and just one day tackle them with like Pi Team or something. So I just simply clicked on, weak Mercury, and then I looked at the notes. Or I have weak Saturn. Look, all these notes are there. So once I just started diving on that for no apparent reason, that's when I saw that people who were stuck in their life, people who procrastinated, do I do this or do I do that? Do I get a master's degree in human resources or do I get a master's degree in statistics and logic? I'm confused. You know, do I do business or do I do a job? But if I do a business, I don't have any idea. In job, I'm stuck. What is happening? Why? What's going on? And all of these situations, especially when they came to like career, the most of that, you know, analysis was in that weak Mercury section, weak Mercury folder. Because what happens is this. Okay, so let's say if I tell somebody, you have the potential to, let's say, become an astrologer. Okay. For example, they have the combination to become an astrologer. And I'm like, okay, I know you're confused about these things, but look, you have been following me for so long. You have been studying all these books in astrology. You know, they have Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu conjunction. Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu conjunction is one of the most common, actually, conjunction related to occultic research. They have Moon, Venus, Kendra from each other. They've got Rahu looking at the second house. They've got the connection between the 5th and 8th Lord. Okay, they can do astrology. However, even if this person learns astrology, okay, the very next day when they become an astrologer, they're like, okay, what do I do now? They're gonna be, okay, I've got my certificate from this school. I went to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and I got my certificate in Germany. I'm Germany level 1, level 2, level 3. Then they will think and they'll be like, okay, so now what do I do? How do I get this started? And they'll keep thinking. Okay, what do I do next? How am I supposed to become an astrologer? How am I supposed to do this? Okay, so they're thinking. But what ends up happening is they only think. The idea is nowhere to be found. The idea that sparks that, oh, maybe you should do this. Oh, maybe you should do that. You take, let's say, business of, let's just take a restaurant business, for example. Somebody is passionate about cooking. I actually saw some of these examples. They're passionate about baking. They can bake any cake. They can replicate the exact same cake anybody has ever made. And they can make the most beautiful wedding cake, birthday cake. And they just love baking. But they're like, I have no clue. How do I get this into a business? You see? And so when I'm looking at the email and then I'm giving them a consultation that, look, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to market yourself, you've got to, get orders in your home, you got to go and ask people, hey, do you need the cake? I will do this for a quarter of the cost that it'll cost you, or cost you to get your wedding cake, which will cost you $1,000. I'll do it for $200. So what I realized in some of these consultations that I was feeding them the baby steps that supposed to be coming through logic. You see, Mercury is analytical intelligence. Logical and analytical intelligence. As much as Mars is logic, Mercury is the intelligence of that logic. So Mercury is book reading. Fine. You can graduate with top grades. But when Mercury is not in the greatest of spot in the horoscope, it's in the weak position. You can have the education. You like somebody, let's say if I'm one of those people with very weak Mercury, you can teach me programming A through Z. Like I can build Microsoft Windows on my own, sitting at home. I can build the next Facebook. Somebody teaches me, I can build the next Facebook. So I've learned it. But when I'm in front of that blank screen to put that first code, I'm going blank. And that's where the idea needs to automatically, work with your brain, work with your intuition. So learning is easy. Okay, learning becomes easy because your divine intelligence is so strong, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is the true intelligence. Fine, you can learn things. But implementing them, bringing them into the real world. See, this is why Mercury is business. Mercury is the karka of trade and business. Why? Because it takes that idea. Why does that person with no degree becomes that multimillionaire? Because they didn't need intelligence. They had the idea. They didn't care for being trained and getting a degree and being trained in something, and then just getting the work. See, when Mercury is weak, a person, when given a work, they will do the work. When a company says, this is our project and we want you to do this part, they'll do it. But if company says, what else can we do beyond this? They'll be like, I don't know, you might want to ask your, business marketing development, product development section. And this becomes the difference between that success failure. It's not Saturn. You can have excellent Saturn. It's not Mars. It's not the moon. You can be the most depressed person, yet you can come up with idea. Look at Anthony Bourdain. He was clinically depressed. Yet the guy had the idea, okay, I'm going to become a chef. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take myself to a TV station, and I'm going to start making this show. There's so many clinically depressed people who are artists, actors, businessmen. But why is it they're there? Their moon is so screwed up. Moon is like completely down in dirt. It's trashed. But it is the Mercury that is working. Some Mercury works overtime. They could be sleeping, coming up with ideas. And this doesn't mean that this is only for business people. No, I'm talking about doctors. I'm talking about anybody in any field who are procrastinating. What do I do? And especially, usually people who are in a certain field, yes, their Mercury is good. I'm talking about people who just can't make a decision. Do I do this? Do I do that? Okay, I have written this book. Now what do I do? So Mercury needs to give that basic logical steps. You wrote a book? Okay, find an agent. If you can, then find a publisher directly. If you can, then find a distributor. If you can, then publish it yourself and market it yourself. These are the steps that automatically are instilled. But when Mercury is trashed, when Mercury is weak, a person will feel stuck as to what is now the logic, the analytical steps behind what I just did. And especially too, even writers that had weak Mercury, it took them literally 6 years to write a small 80-page book. They had the passion for writing, but the mind was full with too much trash, but Mercury's ideas weren't coming out very strongly. So when you say, I want to be big this, I want to be this millionaire, and I want to be this businessman, or I want to be a scientist, and I want to discover something this, the very first thing that you want to check is Mercury. How is Mercury helping you? So as you know, if you have been following me for a while, Mercury receives its Digbala. See, Digbala is more important than exaltation, debilitation, okay? More than anything else, if the planet has Digbala, it is the greatest strength you can give. In Shadbala concept, the sixfold strength of Vedic astrology, the directional strength is very important. So when Mercury is in the ascendant, see, Jupiter and Mercury are in the ascendant. Jupiter and Mercury get their directional strength in the first house, in the ascendant. Why? Because that's where your head is. That's where the brain is. All the neurological connections that are made is up here. This is Mercury. Mercury is the nervous system. And it's also intelligence. So Jupiter gets its direction there. Mercury gets its direction there. Okay. This is why this has been going on since thousands and thousands of years. When do you go to school? When do we get up for school? When we got up for school? 6 a.m., right? 5:30 a.m., you're getting up, you're getting a shower, you don't want to be in anywhere, you just want to be in bed, but yet your mom woke you up, got you ready, you went to school, you were at school by 7, 8. Okay? This is the time between 6 and 8:30, sometimes 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, when sun is transiting the first house. The sunrise. Sunrise happens in 12th house, but sun is in the first house, going up. This is why, because sun transits the directional strength of Mercury and Venus, that's when we use our intelligence. That's when we are supposed to use our intelligence. See, sun receives its directional strength in the 10th house. Fine. There's a concept that I learned. This is a while back, just talking with A.V. Sundaram about how when sun is transiting the ascendant, each house that sun transits, it's a directional strength for certain activity. Okay? So when sun transits the first house, you wake up. You wake up to get ready for school. However, when sun transits the ascendant, you're supposed to be in school. That's the only problem. You're supposed to be there at the sunrise. This is why back in Gurukul, you never woke up at the same time. You woke up you woke up at a time where you would be in front of the Guru when the sun is transiting the first house. Why? Because when you learn, if you learn anything in the morning, during during the hour when the sun is rising the first house, you will retain that information. You will retain that information. Why? Because that's the directional strength of Mercury and Jupiter. It enhances your intelligence. It's actually a remedy and an activity at the same time. So for people who have weak Mercury, don't try to think about ideas in the middle of the day, or while you're having lunch, or while you're going for dinner or supper. Wake up early in the morning, and especially now through internet, you can find out exactly when sun is rising. That means, or you can find out when sun is going to be in the first house tomorrow for that 2.5 hours. In those 2.5 hours, meditate on your ideas, meditate on the business that you are wanting to do, or the degree that you want to get, the job that you want to implement, the project that you can figure out. That's when you do it, because that is the time when Mercury-Venus direction is activated. Then, the other reason why Mercury is so important, vital for our ability to have the idea spark, the spark of idea coming, is because Mercury is prana. Mercury is prana. What is prana? Prana is the breath you take to live. Mercury is the nervous system that is built when you're in the womb. That's the very first thing that builds. And then the very first thing, the way you function, is the breath you take. That's why the very first air sign in the zodiac belt is controlled by Mercury. The sign of Gemini, which is also lungs. Without that, if you don't breathe, you die. Right? So Mercury is so vital. So then here comes another brilliant thing about Mercury. If you do not have proper way of breathing, those people who have weak Mercury, they will always have some issue with breathing. They will have clogged nose. They could have asthma. They could have sinus issues. That means you need to fix them. As soon as you fix those issues, Mercury will strengthen. So then the question becomes, what is the best way? Let's say you don't have medical insurance. You can't even go to a doctor right now, right? You can afford to go to a doctor. Well, in that case, the easiest thing you do is you do the pranayam breathing techniques. You get initiated in Kriya Yoga and you do Kriya Yoga. You don't Kriya Yoga, they do the breath and then you release it on one side, then you take it on the other side. Or in Kriya Yoga, there's also where you inhale once and then twice, like that. There's all these different things, okay, that you do. This actually aligns the prana. It strengthens the nervous system. Remember, the proper way of breathing is the way to God. And you can find any kind of success you want just by breathing. Just by breathing correctly, you can have any success you want. How? I mean, what is this cliche statement, this hocus pocus statement? Oh, you can find success through breathing. Okay, how? Just like I said, separate the trash in the mind with the ideas. Ideas are not what you're thinking. Ideas just pop in. Like, remember when the first time I started this channel, I was sleeping. Literally, I wasn't just like about to sleep, but I was just thinking. I was so stressed, barely had money. And by 1:30 a.m., I just woke up. Just idea, it hit me like an electric current. It's like it was a shock. Like, why don't I have a channel where I can teach people something that I'm interested in? Whoa! Whoa! Where did that come from? You see? I was thinking about 20 different things, 20 million different things for the past, 29, 30 years. Even let's say YouTube started back in 2005. For 4 years, I was thinking nothing but nonsense. But yet, the idea sparked. That's the spark of Mercury that it gives you. Say, hey, here's an idea. I'm going to feed you. Because right now, perhaps in the sky, I'm supposed to be very good for you. And it's my job. I can't judge you. So here's my job. Here's an idea. See if you can run with it. And luckily, yeah, my Mercury is not so bad. I've got a pretty good Mercury, so I ran with it. But one thing I've realized is that the ideas that have come to me in my life, they didn't come to me because I was constantly thinking about them. Because then I would implement them, right? It's not like you're thinking about, oh, I should do this to improve my business. I should do this to improve my business for the past 4 years. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I should implement this. No, that's not how it works. You're dealing with something and suddenly you're like, whoa, yes, why am I not doing this with my business? Why am I not doing this with my education? Why am I going for the wrong major? I should be going for this major. That's the idea, the sparks. Why? Because somehow, some way, like they say, there's a saying, every dog has its day. So your day comes, your moment comes, that 1 second of spark that comes, where Mercury suddenly becomes good in your chart, and it feeds you that idea. It feeds you that idea. So for everybody who has this issue of procrastination, not knowing what you need to do in your life, where your life is going, how do I, what in the world was that Oreo? I don't know if anybody heard him just like go, jeez, I know it's almost one, man, but come on. But yeah, so anybody who has, issue with the fact that I don't have direction in my life, improve your breathing. You got to improve your breathing. You got to breathe correctly. If you start breathing correctly, you can be 100 miles ahead of some excellent entrepreneur. So don't think that you are limited because you're born with this, crunched mercury, trashed mercury, or debilitated mercury. You can overcome that. This is why these most simplest of remedies are there, like Kriya Yoga or Patanjali, okay, or whatever type of other pranayam and whatnot. Actually, no, everybody thinks that they do Patanjali yoga and pranayam yoga, but it's not really yoga. You're just doing oxygen exercises. Patanjali and and pranayam is a type of yoga where you should be so advanced that you can feel the texture of the breath. You can feel the smell within the breath. You can breathe through your skin, not even the nose. Somebody tries to suffocate you, you'll be like, okay, keep suffocating me, because I'm breathing through every pore of my body. This is why I found this out from a certain show online with this guy who's talking about this same thing of breathing through skin and everything, but it comes through, adverse practice. Like the yogis would bury themselves in the ground for 2 or 3 days. Why? Because they didn't care for taking oxygen in from the lungs and from the nose. They were simply getting oxygen from the dirt, from the ground itself, because oxygen is everywhere. So if you improve that, you will see how ideas just come. So because a lot of people say, like, all the spiritual masters say, stop thinking. Stop thinking. Live in now, right? All this stuff that we hear. And you are thinking then, well, if we can't think, then how are we going to improve and do things that we're supposed to do? How am I going to know, like, I'm supposed to do this for the world and do that for the world, bring a change in the world if I'm not thinking? And that's the issue. You're not supposed to think. Why? Because you're supposed to deal with the idea. The idea is supposed to direct you, not the thinking. So for everyone who feels this way, please join a Kriya Yoga class or learn some breathing exercises from someone. Do all these yogas that are given to you online for free, because that's going to, once you do that religiously, you got to do it every day. You can't just do it once a week and thinking things are going to happen. No. You got to do, like, it's a tree. If you plant a tree, what are you going to do? Not water it? Not take care of the tree so it grows straight and strong? No, you've got to take care of it for a certain time. After a certain moment, then you just leave it alone. Then it's just getting its water from the roots. Same thing here. Once you do these things every day for a year or 2 years, it just becomes part of your life. Then you're just rooted into that practice. Like you eat breakfast, you will do your breathing yoga. And ideas will come here, here, here. You won't even think. You won't think. It's just the idea is going to be fed to you. This is what you're supposed to do. This is where you're supposed to go now. This is what you're supposed to eat. That's living. 99.9% of people, including me, we live in garbage. We live in a junkyard for 13 hours out of the day. When we sleep, we're living in a junkyard. Once a year, for 1 second, we actually live out the true purpose, because that idea comes to us, right? Oh, forget banking job, I'm supposed to be a nurse. That idea didn't come because you were thinking about it. It just came in. And maybe I should do this. Okay? So pay attention to Mercury in a chart. You want to catch somebody's strength, weakness, or you want to give somebody simply direction, give direction to the Mercury. And once you give direction to the Mercury, they won't even need your direction. They will find their direction. Okay. So I hope this has, you know, uh, given a pretty good explanation of the simplicity yet the vital importance of Mercury. And it doesn't matter if your Mercury's combust. You know, your Mercury could be in Pap Kartri Yoga. Your Mercury could be combust. Your Mercury could be debilitated. Your Mercury could have Ashtama position. Any of these things could be present in your chart. Could be debilitated in Sastyamsha. Fine. Could be directionless in Sastyamsha. Fine. But once you do certain practices, automatically, now you're no longer blocked between you and Mercury. You're getting the direct call. You're getting a Skype call from Mercury. Hey, Mercury, I know, because Mercury in its purest form is exalted. In its purest form, Mercury is exalted. The reason why yours is debilitated because there's this Wi-Fi gap. That's all it is. Your signal of Wi-Fi is weak. Someone is medium, someone is okay, someone is extremely good and strong. So all you have to do is just strengthen that Wi-Fi signal with Mercurian engineering, which is what? Prana. Okay. So anyway, guys, hopefully this has helped. If you want to know if your Mercury is weak or strong, go to my website astrologycares.com. Under shop section you'll see the report on option 5, and you'll see all the divisional charts where Mercury is and all of that. And maybe I'll make another video showing the positions of how Mercury is trashed. Some of them I just explained, most of them. The other ones, you know, there's some other yogas and positions that I can show you guys of, hey, if you see this Mercury in a chart, definitely you'll find this person procrastinating, you'll find this person directionless, you'll find this person always confused of what I need to do, what should I do. Okay, so this is like a remedy for everybody who is in my database or who's just listening right now. Okay, see you guys. Bye.